Hey fellow founders, how you going? Welcome to another update on my progress and Founder University. So week 5, Founder University, it's kind of flying by, almost at the halfway mark. And this week was really a continuation of a lot of the content that we've been covering in previous weeks around business, business model, how to building out your application, starting to bring in some things as well around the elevator pitch, and also understanding customer profile and where to find those users. So quite some newer stuff as well as some kind of continuation of things that have happened earlier in the Founder University kind of series. This week's live talk, and I forgot to mention at the top of this video, I'm going to try and do this video a little bit quicker, just to see if make it a little bit more engaging, was basically around landing page best practice. Personally, for me, I feel that the content wasn't as relevant. Not that the content was necessarily bad, but just because I'm a little bit further along in my journey, and I think because I've done multiple different kind of startups and done a lot of websites in the past, like a lot of these things were familiar to me. Now, I'm not going to say that Oqire's website's perfect. I know it's not, but it's kind of like a 7 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10 for where it needs to be today. And that bar obviously keeps rising as you build out the company. If I don't change or update the website in 12 months time, it's going to be a 5 out of 10, because you'd expect with a startup that's more fleshed out, has more offerings, talking to a wider audience or whatever, that the website kind of follows that trajectory and continually improves. But for the stage where I'm at today, which is basically pre-beta, I feel that the website's 7, 8 out of 10. Still room for improvement, but hey, I'm stopping there. Anyway, back to kind of the live session. A lot of talk about A/B testing, obviously super valid. One of the challenges I think a lot of people will have, though, is that unless you can drive sufficient traffic to those landing pages, it's very hard to do an A/B test, right? Like if you've got 10 people visiting your website and 2 of them are your mum and your best friend, you just don't have sufficient volume. So I think for a lot of people in Founder University, there's going to be this challenge between how do I drive enough traffic and how do I also test the messaging. I think it's worthwhile to remember you don't need to test the messaging on your website. You can literally go out and speak to people who are in your target demographic. And there was actually a thread in Founder University, and someone was asking about the kind of questions to ask, and actually I might just try and find that because I thought it was quite interesting, just in terms of thinking about it, and I did respond. So I'm basically going to read my answer if I can find it. Should have pulled this up beforehand. Customer interviews, here we go. So someone was building a marketplace for specialty products and unique ingredients that are hard to find in mainstream grocery chains. And the feedback that I gave, and I think is fairly consistent with what you'd hear from a lot of people, is that instead of going out and asking someone, hey, would you use my app? Or do you find it hard to find these products in the grocery store? Like a lot of people, when you ask questions like that, are probably going to be like, yeah, your app's awesome, I definitely use it. Or yeah, look, I can't find, that fancy ingredient. Instead of, though, I think, you can get a lot of, if you go that route, you can get a lot of people who are just trying to be nice, basically. So instead I was saying, hey, take half a step back and go out and talk to these people, but start with do you currently use specialty products in your cooking? If they say yes, great. Would you mind telling me how you find these products, that you put in your cooking? How do you find these ingredients? Because now you're creating an open-ended question, and they might just say, hey, there's this awesome website, I use it all the time, it's super easy. And then you go, okay, well, now I know I've got some real competition, at least that this person's aware of. Or they're going to talk about the problem that you're going to try and solve. Oh yeah, I love using specialty ingredients. They're really hard to find. When I do find them, they're always expensive, or sometimes they're out of stock. And then you can kind of keep digging into that. And else, like I said, for example, hey, you mentioned you find these products in X way. Do you enjoy finding the products that way? Is it easy finding them that way? What's a challenge about finding them that way? How could that experience be improved? And basically just kind of get, more concrete kind of answers and things to run with. So I really saw that as kind of continuation of that landing page idea around A/B testing. We're trying to A/B test copy or messaging. There are other ways to do that. In terms of the rest of the week's content, some good stuff. Obviously, there always is, particularly about finding your first users. And one of the things that kind of stood out to me was one of the websites that I've actually used previously, BetaList. So with my previous startup, TaskPigeon, which was a SaaS-based task management tool, I launched on BetaList, and I think it was like $129, and this is like, 6-7 years ago now. Actually, not quite that long, 5 or 6 years. And yeah, it was $129. We got about 100, I think, beta users off it. So I thought, hey, it's worthwhile. I know it's a little bit expensive, $1 kind of roughly per user. So I went back and looked at BetaList again, but the price has gone up to $299 US, and that's around 500 Aussie dollars. And in my opinion, it's just not worth it. So I know one of the challenges that I have personally is that I don't have people on my wait list. I'm not fussed about that because my past experience with wait lists is that only a very small percentage actually convert anyway, and I'd rather get the tool into the hands of real users. So the people on BetaList, they might be, for example, just people interested in new software but don't necessarily fit my target demographic. If BetaList was cheaper, I probably would have justified the cost, but yeah, for me, saving that $500, probably better putting that in like Facebook ads or something like that. Not to say the recommendation from Founder University was bad. I just saw that name kind of stand out as an interesting one. Other ones mentioned Product Hunt. I've used that before. Indie Hackers, great website and forum. Hacker News, Reddit, etc. If you can find ways of kind of aligning with those. I think there is actually someone in Founder University who's kind of built a Reddit community, and that's something that's also on my to-do list as well, just around pre-sales and people in and around that kind of space. So, look, that's kind of all I'm going to cover from a recap perspective of Founder University. Excited that, we're getting towards the halfway mark. Excited that getting towards the point of actually launching my solution as well, or at least the beta version of it. And that's where, I basically want to pivot to now in terms of the conversation. So where's Oqire up to? Basically, it's on the precipice of being released as the beta version. So currently doing some fine tuning in like a staging site, which basically iron out a few small kinks that I've noticed, and then we'll be pushing it to production, at least beta version of it. I was planning to do that by the 15th of August, so basically tomorrow my time, but kind of 2 days from now for people in the US. I think that time frame is still achievable, but I might just take 1 or 2 extra days just to iron out 1 or 2 other things, and also do some admin stuff. So for example, making sure I've got the terms of service kind of all lined out so that people can read that if they want to, privacy policies, that kind of thing. And then we'll be live, which will be really exciting. I know that it is a cut down version. The good thing is though that you can still get value out of it, so that's what I was really kind of focused on, making sure that even though it's a relatively cut down version of the grander vision, if you are an enterprise sales team or a sales team selling any form of software, really you don't need to be enterprise, there is value there in bringing your sales and pre-sales teams together and starting to think about some of this process around discovery, so understanding the pain points that your software solution's trying to solve, and then kind of turning that into, hey, what are we actually going to demo to this audience? That's as I said, basically on the precipice of launching. Did a few more tweaks to the landing page, a few more tweaks on kind of setting up some social channels and that kind of thing, which is all rather mundane, not very exciting. But basically want to get the beta out, start reaching out to some of the potential customers that I think would benefit from it, see if we can get them on board, and then basically go from there. So that's going to be a wrap for this video. Thanks for watching, and feel free to hit that subscribe button to keep following along in the journey, and I'll catch you in the next one.